Hello and welcome to episode 26 of the Knitting Teaspoon podcast. I'm Liesbeth, your host, and this is a podcast which is all about knitting and all the other crafts that I occasionally do as well. Today is August 11. It's a Saturday, which is not my usual recording day, but it is the day that you guys might actually see this podcast because I'm planning to record this episode, edit it, and then upload it before 1 p.m. Local time. That is GMT plus 2, I believe, in the summer. So, thank you so much for joining me. It really means a lot that you take some time out of your day to spend it with me. Thank you for subscribing if you did. Thank you for watching. Well, if you watch this, it really means a lot that there is something going on here, and I like that. So let me get into what I've been doing this week. Well, first of all, I'm wearing an Agnes top. You will have seen this one before if you've been watching the podcast for a longer time, because this is one of my Agnes tops and it's the first one I've ever made. There's really nothing special about this top. I didn't do the special version with a ruched neckline. I didn't do any special sleeves. I just made a plain Agnes top, and it's a while ago. So this is a pattern by Tilly and the Buttons, and I love her patterns. I'm considering actually hacking this pattern into a dress at some point. Or maybe just making a few more, because you can have too many shirts, you know. And it's actually great to be able to wear this also for the warmth again, and not only for the length of the sleeves, because it's a full length sleeve, which has been amazing with the amount of sun power that we've had recently, because temperatures have been crazy lately. But they are finally a little bit back to the normal so-and-so Dutch summer with a lot of rain and a bit cooler temperatures. But I will get into that a little bit more later. So let me get started talking about my projects. Well, first of all, you will know that if you've watched last week's episode, that I was knitting on a baby blanket that took me almost 15 skeins of worsted weight 50 gram balls, so maybe 7.5 skeins of 100 gram skeins. I don't know, doesn't make sense. Well, I had finished that before last week's episode, but I needed to give it as a gift to my cousin last Saturday for her wedding, which was in southern Germany. So I still needed to weave in all the ends. I can tell you now that I managed to do so, I think halfway on the trip there. My boyfriend and I both took off the Friday from work, and then we traveled to southern Germany, well, partially on the Thursday, so we went to a hotel with spa. I don't think I'm particularly a spa type of person, but it was quite enjoyable to be able to walk in the hotel's dressing gowns through the corridors of the hotel straight into the spa. They had to the turbo baths. It was nice. So we had a relaxing Friday morning. Then we drove ahead to Lake Constance, which is where the wedding took place. And first of all, on Friday afternoon, we had a little bit of a tour through Constance. But on the way there, I was already knitting in the car. And the project that I've been knitting on is this one. You will maybe recognize it from a few episodes ago. I haven't worked on anything but the blanket for a while before this. But this is a sock that I'm knitting out of my own hand-dyed yarn. So this is actually Drops Fable yarn. Garn Studio Drops Fable, I believe, is the full name of the brand and the yarn. And it's in the natural colorway, but I dyed it, of course. So now it's my own hand-dyed yarn. Yeah, and I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. I must say at first it was a bit of a challenge knitting this, because this sock is actually knit on my new set of Chowgu needles. So I used 000 or 1.5mm needles to knit these. And the needle tips of that set are 4 inches, and I'm used to my Haya Sharps, which have 5-inch needle tips. So at first I was struggling a little bit to, how to hold the needles. It was, well, it took a little bit of getting used to, but I really liked the effect that I got, like how tight the stitches are. I do think I have somewhat more of a ladder running up the side because of the new needles. It's probably just because of my way of holding these needles rather than actually anything to do with the needles. But yeah, once I got to about here, I really got in the groove of knitting this. So that must have been already on the way back, because I know that I cast out this sock on the way back. Yeah, I took quite a bit of knitting with me to do in Constance, but I've only really worked on this one sock. So we went there, we went to the aquarium. I also did some yarn shopping there, because who can go anywhere without shopping yarn? Can't be knitters, right? So I will get a little bit into that later. But yeah, apart from this sock, later this week I also managed to completely finish the second one. And I do have a pair now, and well, let me fold them a bit in a way that you can actually see the shape of the sock a bit better. As you can see, I haven't woven in the ends, nor have I blocked them. I never really block my socks because I feel like I do have 2 perfectly sized sock blockers, which are called my feet, and well, any of these creases that you can see around here, well, they usually disappear once I've worn them one time. So honestly, for me, the use of blocking to make them look pristine before you start wearing them, well, if I was knitting the socks for someone else, maybe I would block them, especially if they were not for someone like in my family. But so far I haven't really done that, so I've been mostly a selfish knitter, with the exception that I also knit socks for my boyfriend, and I have knit some socks for my sister, but I haven't knit that many socks for other people apart from that, so not really a point in making them look all pristine when all of them know that once they've worn them once, they will be fine. So yeah, so as you can see, these socks suffer a little bit from a hand-dyed yarn syndrome, because you can see there's definitely more of a pooling going on in this sock than in this one. I don't know if this is something to do with the gauge, maybe slightly so, but I think it's more to do with the dyeing, and that this bit of yarn just happened to get a bit more of the dye than this sock, which is on the right for you but on the left for me. You can also see in the heel that it's different here compared to here. So yeah, but I think they look like sister socks enough. They don't have to be identical twins for me. It will be very special anyway, because this is the first project that I've ever knit with my own hand-dyed yarn, which is kind of amazing, I think. So I think that's enough rambling about this one project, but there's been some more going on. First of all, I've had a really weird week. Well, partially because of the wedding, and we went away from Thursday till Sunday, and it's been crazy busy. I have not been feeling too well while we were there, so partially because of the heat, but because it was very hot out there as well. So we didn't get to explore that much of Constance, unfortunately. We mostly stayed in the hotel there and and slept for the bit that we weren't supposed to be at the wedding. And the wedding was very nice. I never would have thought that rain on a wedding day could be so nice, but we were just after the ceremony, when we got to the place where we were supposed to have a barbecue as a kind of lunch for the wedding, it started raining. And now rain is not particularly good for barbecue, but oh my god, there was some clouds shifting over the sun, and some rain came down. Within a minute or two the rain was gone again, but it had cooled down so much from just those 2 minutes of rain. That was quite amazing. So I think that's what made the wedding a little bit more bearable for many of us visiting there. And it was just beautiful. My cousin, she looked gorgeous, and her husband looked like his suit was very much too hot for the weather, but they looked stunning, and it was a beautiful day, and it was very nice that their son could also be there to witness his parents get married. So yeah, it was a beautiful day, and I got to meet a bit more of my family, also a part that I don't see that often, so that was quite nice. And then I got back to work on Monday, which was still a bit much after having had such a busy weekend. And then I thought I had to work again on Tuesday, but when I tried to go to my work on Tuesday, I couldn't reach my work because there had been such a big fire at the industrial zone where my work is located, that we weren't allowed to enter that zone by the firemen. So yeah, that was a bit strange, actually, the experience of trying to go to work and then not being allowed to enter your work zone. And at first it was like, try to keep on track of all the news that's going on there. Maybe later in the day we will be allowed to access our work location. But then we got an email, but most of us couldn't. Well, I don't know how to access my email from home yet, so maybe I should look into that. But we got a message saying that we would not have to work for the day because we couldn't reach our work. That was quite an odd experience, I'd say. And then I went back home because I was already on the train to my work when I heard about this. So I got off the station, the first station, not the station at my work, but the first station that I could. I went off the train and took the train in the other direction again. And then I got home. It was supposed to be 38 degrees on Tuesday, so that's slightly over 100 degrees Fahrenheit, so incredibly hot. It was before 8 o'clock in the morning, so it was not that hot yet. But I decided, let's go and get some cold drinks from the supermarket, because usually I only drink tea at home. But I felt like with that kind of weather, I'm not going to want to drink tea. So, and there I ran into one of my neighbors, and he told me that actually in the same night as the fire had started at my work location, also a house one street over in that direction had burned down overnight, and I hadn't noticed anything of that. So it's kind of strange to have so much fire going on, and I know that the firefighters here are incredibly busy with all the fires that are going on because of the dryness, because of the heat. Everything just catches fire much more easily. Yeah, and it was just a very odd day. I mean, having a free day on a Tuesday because you can't go to work because there's a fire. Well, it was very nice. It was so hot because I could catch up on a lot of laundry because I had been busy for the past few weekends. So I was a bit behind on that, and I managed to catch it all up on Tuesday. And one thing that I also managed to try out on Tuesday was trying out my new ironing board, because I haven't told you guys yet, but after I bought the knitting book, I also bought a new ironing board and a steam iron and also a regular iron. And because I like sewing so much, this was one of the things that I wanted to invest in first. And well, this is a piece of fabric that I bought a few weeks ago. I don't think I've shared it with you guys. It's from a brand named Dapper, which means so much as brave in Dutch. And oh my god, this is just a piece of fabric, and I don't know really why I'm showing you this, because this is inside out. I usually keep my fabrics like this, nice sides together, because this way the sun is less likely to affect the right side of the fabric, or at least slightly less likely to do so. Not that I keep my fabrics in direct sunlight anyway, but all the light that they get might damage the color over time, and I don't want that to happen. But it was such a dream to iron this. It just went so incredibly quick. I can't wait to start sewing, but on Tuesday it was still too hot, and ever since Tuesday I haven't had the time to get into a bit more sewing. One thing that I did do on Tuesday was get back into spinning, and you may have seen that I was working on a braid of spin spool fiber. So this is all that is left of the braid. I have rebraided it so that it doesn't look very pretty in here. It's entirely my doing, no fault of spin spool whatsoever. This is a 100% merino braid that I'm spinning right now. And yeah, it looks kind of boring on the bobbin right now, because apparently all the grey and brownish colors are coming up now, but all these pretty pinks, pretty bright pinks are also in there, and the end result is going to be something that I've got behind me here. So this one's not maybe the prettiest example, but in this one you can see a bit better. These are the colors that are in there, and I'm going to two-ply it. So I also still have one entire braid of BFL behind me, Blue Face Leicester, for those of you who don't know. And I'm going to make it a 50-50 blend, and yeah, hopefully make a few more skeins of these, although I think this might already get me a long way into a cardigan, which I'm planning to knit out of this yarn. Maybe a sweater, I don't know, a garment for sure. So yeah, I'm quite happy with the spinning progress that I've made. I've almost finished the third braid of this project, and then I still have only the fourth one to go. I'm sorry, I have a bit of dust up my nose, and it's been annoying me quite a bit, but I think that's actually what caused my microphone to malfunction for a while. When I started to record this podcast, I noticed that the sound quality was bad, so I hope that it sounds okay for you guys. Please let me know if you feel like it still sounds okay. I know that I will also hear a bit of this while editing, but unfortunately I won't be able to do much about it anymore after I recorded this. But it's been a bit of a bad luck streak. I spent my money on the new ironing board and steam iron and everything, so that was quite expensive actually. And now it seems like everything is breaking down. So I dropped my phone last weekend, so there's a big burst in the big how do you call it? I think it was in in the screen. So I have a replacement coming today. So a new phone, which I had to pay for. My oven is doing strange. The clock on it won't work anymore, which means that we can't set timers anymore for my oven. My microphone for my computer is starting to break down, so it feels like, yeah, I'm earning a little bit of money, but there's really no leeway to spend it on fun things, because suddenly everything starts to break down, which probably means it's a good thing that I'm earning money, because otherwise money would have gotten really, really tight. Anyway, so yeah, apart from the socks that I've been knitting on, the spinning that I've done, and a bit of sewing that I've been preparing in the sense of pressing the fabric, there's been one more project that I've been working on, and it's been on the podcast before, but and I told you guys that I was so happy about it, and afterwards I just didn't work on it for quite a few weeks. But it is back, and it is the summer top that I'm knitting on. So here it is. I know that it looks totally weird right now, but it's gonna be kind of a tank top-ish thing, and it's rolling up on itself. So the last time I showed you guys, I think I had just finished this back panel with the lace heart, and I hope you guys will be able to see it this way. I mean, I can see the camera through here, but there's no light source behind me, so I don't know if you can see the lace properly. And I just finished the back piece. I think I just cast off the stitches in the middle here, and it was probably around here-ish. And then I finished knitting this bit until I had to quit. No, maybe it's the other side that I did. Yeah, I think I continued knitting on this side. Knitted until here, then you can see there's an end here, so that this is right. This is the part that I knit first of the front side, and then I continued knitting this bit. So I picked up the stitches here, and well, not picked up, they were on a separate needle waiting for me to pick them up again, and continued knitting here, and then joined the front sides together. Still knit a bit of back and forth until I increased far enough for the arms to be put together, and now I've joined it in the round, and now there's going to be a whole bunch of stuck knit stitch until it is a proper length for the top. So I know that it just rolls up on itself quite easily now. It's not very long, it's not very clearly visible what the top is going to be like, but I can't show you any better because this is so lightweight. This is a lace weight yarn. And unfortunately, I don't know what kind of yarn it is, because this is a yarn that I once got in a trade that was a cake with a friend of mine from Stockholm. And she's not actually from Stockholm, but that's not really important for the story here. I met her in Stockholm, where we both lived at the time. But yeah, I got this gorgeous tealy blue skein of yarn, and it's amazing. I've been knitting from it quite happily now, finally, but I traded it for an actual piece of food cake because she had it in her stash and she felt like she was not going to do anything with it, so she traded it with me, and she had lost the label by then because she had started knitting something with it, but probably didn't like it, so she destashed the yarn, and unfortunately in that process somewhere the label got lost, so we don't know what kind of yarn it is exactly, but it's lace weight yarn and it's gorgeous color, so why not knit a top out of it? So that's all the knitting that I've done. But I told you guys that I also had some acquisitions. Well, first of all, I went to Constance and I picked up some skeins. So I've picked up these two skeins. They're Sandnes Garn Sisu, Norwegian brand. A blue one and a light grey one, and I'm thinking of knitting a pair of colorwork socks out of them. I do have some patterns by Skinnier Knits. You may know the podcaster, or may know her as a designer. I purchased some of her patterns, and yeah, I'm considering knitting a pair of socks in colorwork soon, because those yarns are sport weight sock yarn, so they are 80/20 wool nylon, so sturdy yarns for socks, I believe, but they're slightly heavier weight than your average sock yarn, which is usually a fingering weight, and this is sport weight, so this is, or somewhere between sport weight and heavy fingering, I don't know, but I think it will be okay for those kind of patterns. And then I also picked up these two skeins. So these are BC Garn in the Semilla Melange, as you can see. And this is Danish yarn, and it's the same weight, but it's 100% organic wool. And I'm really curious how this knits up, because I've heard a bit about the Brant, but I've never actually come across this yarn before, so yeah, I'm really curious how it will turn out, but I think I'm going to knit gloves out of this yarn. And that's all that I bought this week, but then I also had a lovely surprise come in the mail to me, because last week, slightly after I recorded, Lily Pond Yarns came out with their 5th episode, and they announced their prize winner for their one skein along, and I won. I still kind of can't believe it, because I've never won anything in a knit along before. Must admit that my chances were pretty good in this one, because well, there were not that many entries in the knit along, but yay, I won something! So they sent out a prize, and it arrived on Thursday. And well, first of all, their prize contained these gorgeous mini skeins of yarn. So I'm going to turn around and show the other side, because on the other side of the package you can see all of the colors a little bit better, and you can see 20 gram mini skeins of yarn, and dyed by Lily Pond Yarns, or Fiona and Evie. I'm going to butcher your name as well. No, I'm trying. I'm really trying. So Fiona and Evie dyed these gorgeous yarns, and there's 20 gram minis in this set. I'm not sure what I will be doing with it. I'm planning actually on maybe making some socks where I kind of stripe them with a natural yarn. So I have a natural yarn here, but I'm not really sure if the contrast will be big enough to do so. But who knows? We will see. Not in a hurry yet. And they also send out this. I believe this is called a Nuster pin. I'm not really sure what this is called, but this is the thing where you can hand wind cakes around, so then you will be doing a lot of hand winding to get some pretty cakes. And yeah, it really looks like a nicely finished thing, so I'm really glad that I have one now, because I've been using a very fat crochet hook until now to do so, and well, this just looks a little bit more fancy. So I'm really happy with that. And then there is a piece, I believe this is soap. There So not really sure. If it's not, please let me know. Yeah, and there was a button in there which I've already put on something else that I don't have near me, so I'm not going to show that one. But they also came with a progress keeper, so the beady-eyed amongst you may already have seen this little floral sheep that's still hanging on my sock here. And yeah, this little fella is also a stitch marker that I got in the prize package. So I feel completely spoiled rotten. But yeah, I'm really happy with the prize that came my way. So yay! I think I may do a giveaway soon again. I'm kind of wondering what kind of giveaway I want to do. I've been thinking of maybe hosting a knit along, but I don't want to actually host knit along. I had an idea of maybe doing some kind of knit along that was a more than one craft along. So something that it's about a project that you make. Where you have to do more than one craft to finish the project. So maybe if you hand spin yarn and then you knit with it, that would count, for instance. Or maybe if you knit something in pieces that you will then have to sew together to craft. So that would count. Weaving in the ends, of course, doesn't really count yet, but maybe your finished knitting needs a crochet edge, or maybe you want to crochet something but you want to give it like a knit a ribbing border, maybe something like that. I think that would be nice. Or maybe if you hand dye yarn or fiber and then you spin your hand-dyed fiber or something like that. I think that could be a really fun knit along. I must say I probably need to find a place to host this. I'm not really fond of Instagram because I feel like I'm really bad at keeping up with the messages there. Instagram just goes so fast, and it feels like once everything is gone for long enough, it's lost forever or something, or at least I don't know where to find it. So maybe I will open a Ravelry group. Just let me know what you think. Would you be interested in having such a knit along going on soon? Or do you think, nah, that's crazy, I like to stick to one craft? Or I don't know. Let me hear what your thoughts are about this. So yeah, I think that's all that I've had to share with you this week. So I know that I've been a bit messy and all over the place this week, but it's just been such a crazy week. But thank you so much for joining me, and well, I hope to see you next week. And don't forget to let me know what you think about having a more than one craft along soon. So well, have a lovely week and